You are watching Hot Springs Village Venues.
Well, another episode of Village Venues has begun, and it's great to have our guests, Jim and Aundrea, who are from the Home Plate Cafe. What a delight. I love hearing stories. We're going to go back and hear their story in just a minute, but first, you're going to tell me about when you're taking a cruise and where you're going.
Oh, yes. This will be our 7th year to do it.
And you take villagers with you.
We take a lot of villagers with us.
Really?
This year we've got about 75.
Yeah, around about 75.
Really?
Yeah. We are taking a luxury bus down. We're leaving on October the 25th.
And you depart from?
We're leaving from the village at Balboa.
Right.
And parking our cars there. We're leaving there. Going down the day before, which is the 25th.
Right.
And staying the night in Houston. The next morning, they're going to take us to the port. And we'll leave for 7 days on the beautiful new Carnival Vista.
Really?
Yeah.
The Vista's one of the big boys. That's one of the last 2 or 3 year boats.
Yeah, it's got the first ever IMAX theater at sea. It's got the pedal bike course up top that goes out over the water about 18 decks high. I'm planning on doing it, but I'm likely to chicken out.
He's scared of heights. I don't think he will.
After that 5th margarita, it will come to you.
It might.
I'm pretty sure you'll say, hey, to myself, how did this idea get started? Where did you come up with that?
So, 7 years ago, we love to take cruises.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and let me interject to the crowd just for a moment. They also have a couple of Airbnb rentals, if I'm not mistaken. You got one in Gatlinburg and one in
3 in Panama City.
3 in Panama City.
And then one here in Hot Springs.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're about to lose that one. And by the way, on that subject, I met some of your customers on VRBO last night in my restaurant. Thank you for the referral.
You're very welcome.
So yeah, appreciate it. Every little bit helps.
And it's one of those deals you mentioned, Jim. I know where you are. I know there's the home plate. You know that I'm over here. And it's just, in the village, it's just so easy to do that because, if I can say, well, have you been out to the home plate? Or somebody will say, Houston, give me a wide shot here. Somebody will say, that's an awfully cute dog. And I'll say, yeah,
Yes.
This dog spent 3.5 years at your restaurant.
That's right.
Yes.
And
I wouldn't have recognized him. He looks real good.
oh, he's a
He's
sweetheart,
fantastic.
too. And from the day one we brought him in, we thought, is this dog going to tear our house up? Or is he
Right.
going to... He's never had an accident inside. He sleeps in bed with us
Wow.
every night.
That's awesome.
He's a doll. He's
Makes
literally
us-
a doll. And this is scraps from Animal Welfare League. So back to the topic. So, but taking a cruise, did you just say, okay, we're going to go on a cruise? And other people said, we'd like to go with you?
Well, pretty much so. I mean, as she said, we take a lot of cruises, or have been in the years, and we just thought, hey, why don't we check it out and see if anybody else wants to go? Because we're right in the mecca of all the retirees. Everybody's looking for something fun to do, and so we put a poster up on the wall and sent a couple emails out, advertising it through our restaurant email.
Constant contact.
Right.
Constant contact. And lo and behold, the first group we set off with about 75. We got up to 85 the next year. The last cruise we took, we had 180, and
Good
that
stars.
was insane. It was
That
3
was a
55
lot.
passenger buses going and coming, 3 Cracker Barrels going and coming, 3 different hotels in New Orleans, meet and greets, T-shirts, bingo games on the buses. So we decided to limit it this year at 1 bus.
Was this your own, basically your own tour guide service or what?
Well, I mean,
And the main
prepping
reason
for it.
that we got started doing it was just a fundraiser. We have every year we've donated to a different cause. So the first
really?
couple of years was Susan G. Komen for breast cancer. That's why it goes out in October. Of
course.
And we've just stuck with October because it's a beautiful time to go to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And then we did the Knights of Columbus one year, and the big one, the money went to the Razorback Club of Hot Springs Village, and it was about $10,000 raised
a
for
good one.
scholarships. So it was a big deal.
It was big. It's a big deal. It's always a lot of fun.
What a great thing. And once again, this is giving back to the community. And we talked about this a little earlier, and I wanted to bring this up with Jim and Aundrea while we work here. The bottom line is I work with my wife every day. We have rentals. We have all kinds of investments. There's a lot of parallels between us, Jim.
You think?
I'm thinking we both have very attractive wives.
I was just about
blonde
to say,
wives,
but you beat me to the punch.
We both have great style.
Yes,
and
yes,
jackets.
please
I
pan
think
left or pan right, whatever it
I
is.
think that, there's and then doing the rental thing and basically kind of serial entrepreneurship is where it kind of all goes to. And Jim, you obviously work with Aundrea every day, and y'all agree 1,000% on everything, right?
Yes, of
Except
course.
when you're wrong,
That's right.
and then you just need to be reminded you're wrong.
That's right.
Right? Okay. But when you have a discussion like that, you don't have it in public, do you?
No. That would be really embarrassing for me.
And it would be, frankly, well, let's use
true.
that example. We're talking about the home plate cafe.
Yeah.
But if you had an argument in public in front of all your customers at the home plate, that would set a bad taste in everybody's
Yeah,
mouth.
probably wouldn't be good for business.
Probably wouldn't be good for business. Do you mean much like if we had a disagreement with the village, in the village with board members, that we might shouldn't be screaming in public to each other about it? Maybe, or maybe, I don't know, filing lawsuits and calling the police or whatever.
And let me just say, we don't live in the village. However, obviously having the restaurant just outside the gates, we hear a lot of scuttlebutt from time to time. And if you've ever been on Nextdoor, you can get plenty of information.
I've literally not gone on that for that particular reason.
I got on thinking there was might be some benefits to knowing what was going on in the neighborhood, and but mostly it's not great information for me. It's a bunch of negativity. It seems like
a lot of people that wouldn't, if we were in a conversation like this, in particular on screen, they would never say some of the things they say.
Yeah.
Right.
But behind the shield of social media,
yeah.
I'll just say whatever I want. I'll just throw it out there, and I'm like,
that's right.
Let's be more civil about this, shall we?
Yeah, it's a shame that we all live in such a beautiful area of the country that has so much to offer, with all the golfing and hiking and fishing and hunting, and a state in every direction and a change of seasons.
Mm-hmm. And to pick at each other about little stuff.
Well, it's just a shame people don't enjoy it more. They're focused on the negative stuff, and I'm sure there's some things that need to be fixed. But I can't believe that people don't knock down the doors to get in the village.
That's my exact thought. That is my exact thought. But while we're there, how did we get to the village, Jim and Aundrea? How did we start here?
So I am an Arkansas native. I was
Yay!
born. Yes.
Here. Only person, scared the dog.
I am. I was born and raised in Northeast Arkansas in a little town called Wynn, and that's where I grew up.
I know where Wynn is.
Do you? No one ever does.
You're talking to a graduate from Southern Baptist College, Walnut Ridge, Arkansas.
Okay.
And you're talking to a guy who did all the IT work at Helena, West Helena, and Forest City for years and years. So.
Yeah, Forest City's right there.
Yeah, I know exactly.
And, and actually moved.
I didn't say I wanted to live there, but I know where it's at.
Oh, the mosquitoes will take you away.
They will. They really will.
So my parents moved to Jackson, Mississippi when I was about 22 years old, and I said, "Don't leave me." So I went with them.
And how's Jackson? Seriously, is it nice?
No.
Really?
It's okay. I mean, parts of it is okay.
To
me, it was a huge city, and I'm like,
There's good and bad in every city, and we were fortunate enough to live in the Ridgeland-Madison area, the north part of Jackson, which was actually really nice and has grown a lot from what I understand.
I mean, the climate's nice and
pretty
places.
That's true. So that's where I met my husband, Jim.
In Jackson.
Jackson.
This is a funny story, if you got a second.
This is where it gets good.
The story.
This is where it gets good.
I'll tell you. This is exactly how it. So I was.
Is this PG rated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I was working for Outback, and he was working for Red Lobster.
Mm-hmm. And so your stores were probably close by.
They were, and I came in to have lunch at Red Lobster with his bartender, as a matter of fact.
And minding your own business.
Minding my own business.
Yeah.
And I'm probably the only person on the planet that would order a cheeseburger from Red Lobster at lunch, right?
They have cheeseburgers.
They do, believe it or not.
For kids.
So I order a cheeseburger.
So she came in as a troublemaker.
You're about to hear it.
She was a troublemaker.
So I came in and ordered a cheeseburger, and it comes out and there's no pickles.
No!
And I said,
I need to see the manager.
Where's the pickles? And so the server says, I'll go get my manager. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, no, it's okay.
No, it's okay. It's
okay. So then here comes Jim,
come,
and he's like, it's Red Lobster. We don't have pickles. And I'm like, but I ordered a cheeseburger. So they didn't have pickles.
So your first discussion was an argument. Is that what I'm hearing?
More or less. I mean, she was giving me heck about
and you were wrong about something
and
right off the bat.
So
right off the bat.
What I did to combat the situation, I was about ready to get off work, and I asked her if she would like to go get a beer across the way. And
did they have pickles across the way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, how about that?
So it was a win-win for everybody.
I tell you what, he's a slick man.
I mean, slick. So
and a couple of George Strait front row center stage tickets, and she was mine.
Really?
It's true.
Hey, now we're talking. A country girl that likes country music. There we go.
Absolutely.
So okay, and this is the favorite part I always ask everybody. I understand how you got to each other. How did you get to the village?
So we got to the village. Okay, so then we were there. I was there about a year and a half, and my parents decided to move to the village from Jackson. I followed them to Jackson.
I know, but what was just the, hey, we just think we're going to move to the village?
My grandfather was in the village and had a construction company.
Oh.
And so he was getting up there in age and decided that it was time for my dad to come down and take it over and that kind of thing.
How cool.
So they did, and I said, well, I'm not leaving because I thought he was going to propose. I kind of had a
Yeah,
feeling.
you're waiting on a
And,
man.
you know, I'm
you're
like,
waiting,
come on,
you're waiting,
yeah.
you're waiting.
So I stayed behind with him, and shortly after he proposed. And
About
then-
time you got off the stick, buddy.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then again, we didn't love Jackson, and so we thought, hey, let's try to get back close to my family.
Close to family, yeah.
And so at that point in time, I was a service manager with on the border, and he was still with Red Lobster, and we had to put in for a transfer, and they didn't. It was kind of tough to get them to transfer us from there to Hot Springs, and long story
the
short,
Red Lobster there was the second busiest Red Lobster in the entire company.
Yeah.
And there wasn't just a whole long list of people saying, I want to go to Jackson, Mississippi.
That's right.
The Red Lobster in Hot Springs was literally known as the country club. Not that it's not a great restaurant,
Oh, it
but
is.
not near the volume, and it was changing divisions for me, and they just didn't want to let me go. It actually came available 3 times, and I requested for a transfer 3 times, got denied 3 times. I actually, when I found out they were building the Olive Garden in Hot Springs,
you thought, well,
I said, well, it's the same
Same
company, so
company.
I'll
Yeah.
apply for that. And when I told my boss, he came back and said, well, they've already chosen a general manager. And I said, well, that's okay. I'll be an assistant manager, And they were shocked. So I made the drive and had the interview at the Clarion Hotel.
Really?
I walked in. They said, Jim, what are you doing here? They had my resume. And I said, I don't think anybody gets it. I'm ready to
move.
do something for myself.
Y'all aren't listening.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, never got a call back, and then lo and behold, the Red Lobster came available yet another time. This time I put my foot down. I called my director and I told him that I wasn't going to accept it. I had always been exceeds expectations, and it didn't make any sense to me why, I wasn't fit for that position. And so then they finally flew me out, and that's when I got the position, and that's when we moved.
So how do you get from there to a home plate cafe that used to be was it a KFC or what was
No,
it?
it was. Gosh, it was.
It was originally a Dairy Delight
Yes.
ice cream
Delight,
shop,
yeah.
and then a
some kind of
Stobies.
Oh, Stobies.
Stobies burger
For
joint.
just a short while.
And then
Before
the
us, we
former
didn't know
owners, Dale and Pat Summit, they opened the home plate and had it for a few years. And
Did it for 5 years.
we were sitting
We
in the
were-
corner booth, and at this point I realized why there was so much turnover at Red Lobster. The director of operations was just not a nice person to work for. And so after all 17 years, I wasn't happy. She really wasn't happy at all on the border anymore. And we were like, what are we going to do? And we're looking around, and it's just this cute little restaurant, and they were doing good business. And I said, boy, this would be a perfect place if you ever wanted to start your own thing. We're right outside the main gate of the retirement community, a captive audience, and we could always grow from there. And she said, I said, I'm going to ask them, maybe they're tired, maybe they're looking to do something else.
Oh my God,
and she
really?
says, well, don't put them on the spot. So I grabbed Dale's card on the way out the door, and I called him that night.
Talk about a divine moment, though.
Yeah.
No, it really was. 2 nights later, we were touring the place, and it all went from there. And it's the only restaurant we looked at, thought about.
Well, let me tell you from my viewpoint real quick, okay? I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've asked a lot of people in the last 18, 19 years that I've been working in and around the village, and this is a reoccurring theme, and that is incredibly talented people who can live wherever they want, who show up at the village and go, why would we be anywhere else?
Right.
Yes.
And, because I keep asking the question, how did you get here? Why would you come here? And then the answer to me, I get back every time is, why wouldn't we?
That's
It's
right.
beautiful. It's
Right.
inexpensive. It's really, everybody's nice.
That's
It's,
it.
I have a programmer friend of mine. I didn't know that I'd tell this story. I have a programmer friend of mine who lives in India. And he will say, can you send me some pictures?
Aw.
And I'm really, it's dirt. They have palm trees. It's hot. Everything looks dry and deforested and whatever. And we're in a national forest. We're literally in the middle of a national
it.
forest.
Oh, yeah.
I was at the DMV this morning with my mom, and of course, you know what kind of experience that can be. But we're sitting
But
there.
what time it is too? Were you in the village?
No, this was downtown.
Yeah,
She had to get the enhanced
It's a lot easier
driver's
at the
license,
village.
and she had to bring everything: the sun, the moon, and the
But you can't
stars.
get the enhanced at the
No,
village
you
either.
can't.
Right.
So yeah, I know. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sitting there in the waiting room, and literally half of the people waiting to get their stuff taken care of were from the village. And I'm overhearing the conversations, and in particular this one guy that says that they just moved here in June from Colorado, and when they were getting ready to move here, all their friends are going, why are you
You're
going
moving
to
where?
Arkansas? And he's like, you got to come check it out. You just wouldn't believe it. I got 8 golf courses within 10 minutes of my house, you know, and unbelievable.
Well, and you know, so many times for both of us, you know, we have rentals, you have accommodations and food services for people, and rentals too. And so many times you just say, well, it's just about the statistics. Well, 26,048 acres. There's, you know, 30 miles of hiking trails. And you can go through all the statistics. But the statistics don't put it down to real world, the real world guest book. When I would pull up a guest book that some of our guests had been here and they said, we only met the nicest people.
Yes.
Everyone here was so kind. It was so sweet. And I know the home plate actually seems to me like a meeting place for all these things. You just have nice people. You've got great staff. And I'll just objectively tell you my answers real quick in case you're asking. I think it's when you go to a, pardon the term, mom and pop place, 9 times out of 10, it's hit or miss. They have a couple of things that they really do great, but they've got a couple that maybe it's okay or whatever. Never had a bad meal. Never had a person tell me they've had a bad meal. I'm sure from your side, you work with the 5% or the 3% that are dissatisfied sometimes. But the vast majority of everybody we send there goes, this is fantastic food. We wouldn't expect it out of a little bitty mom and pop place.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and typically, to go one step further, you have the different genres on every night.
Yes.
And I don't want to give away too much in the other show we're going to do in just a minute, but you have a different genre every night. And those are all done well too.
Thank you.
So it's just a pleasure to know you and work with you, seriously.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sorry we're not getting on the boat with you October the 25th.
Yes.
For a week, right?
Yes.
And we need a few more folks. Got a couple more
How many
seats
do you
to
need?
fill.
Maybe 10?
I think we've got 48 48 on the bus, and the bus holds 55. So I talked to a couple last night that cruises a lot. I'm working on them. I
You
hope
always
they're.
got people that jump in at the last
Yeah, I
minute.
hope
you
so.
do.
So,
Yeah.
well, that'll be cool too. Well, we appreciate y'all coming and visiting with us again on Hot Springs Village Venues. We'll be back with another episode very soon.
Thank you for watching Hot Springs Village Venues. Please stay tuned and follow us on Facebook to see the next episode.